everyone, my name is Karthik and I am back with another use case today a prototype built using generative AI tools like Lovable and Cursor. A few days ago, I was reading a bit about the R&D tax credit scheme in the UK, and I found it very interesting because through this scheme, the UK government incentivizes small businesses and private businesses to spend money in and efforts in doing research when they're solving a problem like or innovating something new that could benefit the industry or that could benefit anyone. So based on the money spent on the research, the business can actually claim some tax credits or in some cases even get cashbacks. Now, I have oversimplified this. Of course, there's a lot of rules and protocols that underpins this scheme, and that is what makes it very difficult for a business owner or even in a lot of cases accountants to actually understand the rules of the scheme, the protocols set in place, and apply them from on a case-to-case basis. And that is where we can use LLMs to understand and do the same thing, build a case, build a narrative, and apply the rules properly on a case, and even help the business owners and accountants to understand what the businesses should be doing in order to align with the scheme and not basically break any rules so that they do not have any penalties or complications further down the line. So let's just quickly first understand what the use case is and how the solution works. So the solution basically is an agent which has an agentic layer with different agents and tools, AI agents and tools working in the background. And as I said, the problem here is identifying and claiming R&D tax credits is complex and expensive. Accountants sometimes lack the specialist knowledge to draft the required technical narratives, forcing them to hire costly consultants or ignore a valuable service line. The opportunity here is that an AI agent can automate around 90% of the qualification and drafting work by reasoning over public HMRC guidance. And this creates a massive efficiency gain and a new high margin revenue stream for our target customers. Now, who can use something like this? I would say small to medium-sized UK accountancy firms, around 10 to 100 employees, or an accountant who just has a lot on his plate, and then they can go ahead and use something like this. And the unique value proposition, I would say, is an AI agent here that can make you an expert in R&D tax credits instantly, because this agent has been fed all the rules and regulations for very specific to this scheme. So what does the architecture look like? Let me just zoom in a bit on this. This is how the flow works. So the agent would receive the user query, and this is in case of the Lovable solution that I've built. So everything, since it's a serverless solution, everything is on Superbase Edge functions. And on the back end, I'm using Raggy.ai's RAG pipeline. So what it does is it goes through the HMRC's website, the corporation tax website. It crawls and scrapes everything. It parses and cleans it, and then it creates its semantic chunks for the knowledge, and then it stores in a vector database. Then when the user query is received, what it does is it embeds the query, it converts the query into a vectorized format. Then it performs a hybrid search with the keyword as well as the vectorized search. It re-ranks the results, it returns the context, and it then sends it to it's an OpenAI call. It's not GPT-4. This is a typo. I'm using GPT 4.1. And then it receives an AI response when in the user interface that I will be demoing very soon. Now, of course, this is again a bit oversimplified. And then in the next step, I will show you what the actual agentic framework look like. Now, of course, this is something that requires different steps, several steps, because it's not as simple as just reading the rules and understanding and then applying those rules. There is a little bit more that happens here. So it requires the analysis of the query. It requires understanding the intent, extracting the entity, understanding the context of the user query. Then that is sent to a research agent. So the first is the router agent that understands the query. It's sent to a research agent. The research agent actually goes ahead and performs several searches to get the relevant information for that user query. And it does the knowledge retrieval, it does the document analysis, and it even comes up with a calculation logic if there is any calculation involved. Then, of course, in any document, there's a lot of numbers, there's a lot of facts, and even though everything is in the database, sometimes the LLM can get confused on, say, for example, if an year is mentioned, 2009, sometimes it can be mistaken as the as a percentage, like a tax rate or something. And so that's why there's another step with the fact-checking agent that basically just fact checks and verifies the source, does the accuracy assessment and confidence scoring. And then it goes to a response synthesizer, which takes everything into its context, understands it, and generates the content, does the citations, and cleans up the structure, and then it sends it to formatting agent, which also basically does similar things, but slightly different. And then there is a follow-up agent, which goes through the whole chart and goes through the response, and then predicts the trajectory of the user question, and comes up with some follow-up questions that the user is most likely to ask next, and it suggests them to the user so that it can continue the flow of the conversation in a more natural way. Then, yeah, this explains the same thing. It's a little bit more, we're getting into the intent recognition of what it does, and the research engine with the query analysis, knowledge retrieval, and this is the agentic pipeline. So what are we using here? We are using this Supabase for the Lovable one, Supabase as the backend, Ragi for the RAG pipeline, OpenAI's LLM for all LLM related operations. And Neo4j is something I was wanting to integrate. Neo4j is a knowledge graph. So I was wanting to integrate, but I did run out of Lovable credits. So this is not integrated yet. And of course, then these are the features: R&D project analysis, multi-agent research and analysis, specialized tax credit tools. So a lot of these can be added, and some are already there, some can be added more later, but let's quickly jump on to the demo. Now, this is the Lovable demo. This is the first one, and then this is the second one. So I'll come to the Lovable one first, because this is not using any agentic framework. It's just using the OpenAI's agent SDK, and it's very lightweight, very basic in some sense, but it's quick to implement, and it does the job pretty well. Like it has to be refined a lot more for a production release, but so far just for a prototype, it does pretty well. So I will just take one of these sample queries. So for example, let me take initial project qualification. A client in the food science industry created a new plant-based protein with a long shelf life. What are the key questions I should ask them for an initial R&D assessment? So this is from the perspective of an accountant that has a client, and the client has a new plant-based protein. Let's see. I have clicked on it and it's here. Let me send it to the agent and let's see what it does. So as you can see, it has started the thinking process. It has then come up with a task planner, um, and then it's created a task that it has to generate a checklist. Then comes the execution engine, then the checklist generator, and it's still working on this. So let's just give it a few seconds, and it has come up with a response with citations. And if I hover over it, it shows where it's getting the supporting knowledge from to come up with this sort of checklist. Basically, this point in the checklist, how it has come to this. It's showing me where it has, what it has read, what source it has referred to for this. And I can always go back and have a look at the thinking process. So it thought for 21 seconds and it took 7 steps. So it was a task planner first, then again, and then it has the execution engine where it is actually working on this, and then checklist generator, and then execution engine again, and then a follow-up generator. So these are the points. I still need to and as I said, this is a prototype. If it has to go production, it needs rigorous testing and a lot more than just this quick test. But here it is that it has generated the checklist for some of the points. It has shown 2 citations from the same document. So let's see what it shows at the bottom. These are the sources it has referred to. So one of this is a PDF, and this is the page in the PDF. Let me just check which PDF it is. Right, so this PDF is from the HMRC, the HMRC's Research and Development Tax Relief guidance. So it went through this, it read this, and it has cited this. Now let's see what the other citation is. I think that's the same. So yeah, so it has looked through different pages of the same PDF, and it has found supporting evidence, supporting knowledge to come up with each checklist. And it has provided me with a checklist of the questions that I should ask or the topics that I should be concerned with when dealing with such a case. And at the bottom, it has more supporting questions, follow-up questions, such as, can you explain any of these requirements in detail? What evidence do I need for each point? How do I document these activities? Let me see if it can find any relevant information for this. However, there are some imperfections in this, and I will be refining this further. But as I said, I ran out of Lovable credits, and this is what we have at the moment. But nevertheless, it does a great job in showing what needs to be done. The project to resolve documentation requirement. And let's see what the citations are again. I think should be the same PDF. No, this time it's different. Right. So this time it is pointing me to the UK government's HMRC website and this particular page. What projects qualify, what you need to do next. So some of these things it has taken from here. And yeah, so, and for this, it thought for 13 seconds for this answer. Interesting. Now let's go to the other one. And for people who are watching on LinkedIn, you might want to hop over to the YouTube link because LinkedIn has a limit that I cannot post anything over 15 minutes. So please go over to the YouTube link shared in the description. So this one I have built using Cursor. This is hosted on my own personal system, my laptop. And this one is interesting because it uses Crew AI as the agentic framework. And I can show what that is for those of you who have never heard of Crew AI. Crew AI is an open source SDK. Mainly, I think it is Python, but you can use Crew AI to build your AI agents crew. That's why it's named Crew AI. So it's a multi-agent system, yeah, a framework that helps you build a multi-agent workflow. So go check it out if you want, but let's get back to the demo. Let me just copy the same question from there and see how it performs. A client in the food science industry, this one. And so this is the UI for the one built with Cursor and Crew AI. The knowledge base that it refers to is the same. It's just a different agentic approach and slightly different UI and workflow. So let me just paste this here and send it. So let's see what it's doing. Okay, this one has an error. Let me see if any other question works. Right, so this seems to have some error right now, but this works in a similar fashion. However, this is what I wanted to show, that using these agentic workflows, you can pick a domain, pick a specific problem, and infuse artificial intelligence in certain steps, and then have a human in the loop at some point, either to review it mid-flow and, of course, after the flow, or review the output right after the flow and use it for your day-to-day tasks, helping you, basically making you more efficient and helping you do a lot more in less time, of course. So let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you have any questions, suggestions, I'm more than happy to hear about those. So please leave your comments and questions in the comments, regardless of where you're watching, LinkedIn or YouTube. And I will try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. And with that, I will bid goodbye. Have a good rest of your day. Take care.